why we are talking at all about the audience development? One of the reasons which the surveys show and statistics that our audience is descending and aging, actually. It's more and more difficult to attract people between 25 and 50 years old. They do not go to culture events, so it's very difficult to make something interesting for them. When we talk about audience development, we use this holistic approach. And this is, of course, the European Commission priority, which helps artists and cultural professionals to reach as many people as possible through Europe and beyond. Also to extend access to culture works to the underrepresented groups. Here we talk about the youth, about the children, about the disabled persons, about the seniors, and lots of other groups. We want to keep our existing audience, the ones that we already have. Of course, we want to widen them, right, to search for the new ones that will come. Also to diversify, which means that we should think that our audience is not like a one whole thing. Yes, we have different people with the different needs, with the different wishes and expectations. So what kind of projects we are talking about? The audience development should be your integral part of the project. It means that you should try to think about your audience in every stage of the project, from the programming to production to dissemination, so in every stage of management. And also, it might be that one of the program activities or aims is to give skills, to give competencies for your team, for your partners' team, how to work with the audience, how to do that. So what are the strategies needed? Outreach and accessibility, education, partnerships, some of them are quite traditional ones, I would say, some of them are not. User engagement, audience segmentation, pricing, geography, and maybe you will think something else out of the list. So outreach and accessibility. As you know, Europe upholds the strong position that it's equal opportunities for everyone, and everyone must have access to culture, but in reality we all know that it's not always the case, and there are some obvious reasons why some people cannot have this access to culture as others. So also you can think whether your culture services, whether culture centers, festivals are open and accessible for everyone. For example, one of the cases that we have heard about is the Digital Opera European Opera platform, which connected 15 biggest opera houses in Europe, and they invested with the TV art there in the technological kind of platform that everybody of us could look the new performances by opera houses just online for free for certain periods. So we don't have to buy an expensive ticket, we don't have to travel to Milan, where we would like to enjoy. So this can be as example. Education. So it's special programs for universities, for schools, for kindergartens. We make thematic sessions. So, for example, if we have some exhibition about future, so we are thinking about education program connected to that. I think you know that very well. Also, when we talk about this interdisciplinary approach, we are expected to work with the other sectors, whether it will be technology, business, ecology, as you wish. Just think who might suit you and who could give you better results. For example, our success story, Kaunas Biennale, which gets funding for the third time in a row under this program. So they decided one year to make a cooperation with the dance company Aura, so visual arts together with dance. So textile artists were making co-productions with the dancers, and what they realize and what they see already for 4 years after the event, that dance audience, which never used to go to the exhibitions, they are still coming and visiting, and the opposite, visual arts community started to go to the dance performances. And I don't want to lie, but as far as I remember, they increased the audience up to 10,000 people, which is really amazing. So this is kind of an example of partnerships with other sectors. And one example from Hungary, so maybe more simple, it's, for example, cooperation with the tourist industry or catering, let's say. So one restaurant has changed the interior according to the exhibition of the museum, and everyone who came to the restaurant could get a discount ticket to visit the exhibition. So it's quite a simple idea, but it also works quite well. Young critics, one of the most successful strategies throughout Europe is, for example, if you have, let's say, National Gallery, right? And you have a school which trains young art critics. So you should invite them and let them to say very freely what do they really think about your gallery institution. And it's provable that at the beginning they are very critical, they say not very nice things maybe, very openly, but the organization puts everything online, on the website, and it's very open, and when the time passes by, these young critics, they start to feel connected with the organization, they start to feel kind of a member, and they feel attached, and they stay for a very long time, and then their critical articles become more positive, and they attract another young colleagues and people. So this is also a thing which is proved to be a very successful one. The other example is also from theater sector, from Rotterdam. The client is always right, we can discuss whether it's always true, but they just realized that their neighborhood have changed, and now their theater is surrounded by the neighborhood of immigrants, and that their production, what they are doing, is it's not relevant anymore to the neighborhood that they have. So they started to think what could be interesting, what performances for the immigrant communities, started to work with them, and also the situation came, and it's much more successful now. Victoria and Albert Museum in London, they create special tasks for young people. So for example, when you come to the museum, you are given kind of a package, the things to find, maybe the things to know, and etc. So it's kind of a private, let's say, user engagement example. The other one I really love, I had a chance to see it myself, it's a museum in the ex-mining place, which is not existing anymore, and they made a museum exposition, very interesting there, and the excursion are led by the ex-miners, the people who used to work in these mines 30 years ago. So they are telling the stories, they are remembering, they are singing the songs, and it's really, really nice experience for the people who come. And maybe you have heard about the Anthony Romilly project in Trafalgar Square, when the sculptures from these four towers were moved to renovate. So the city asked the sculpture to bring something. So they invited around 2,400 people to stand there for 1 hour on each of the towers and to do what they want, just simply. So some of them were creating poetry, some of them were making physical things, some of them were reading, so whatever they want. So, and you see from the numbers that it was very widely discussed and very widely seen. And it's kind of it's interesting how we manage actually all the volunteers. Yes. This is an example of the Hungarian National Philharmonic Orchestra. So you can see here the one company, and they are kind of a complex approach to strategies and tactics. So they are letting to people inside the organization, behind the scenes, to look how that they could see how it looks when there's nothing happening on. Also, they give presents for if somebody brings a new member. It's kind of provocative thing, but it works. They also, of course, go outside the concert hall. They go to the ferry to the other cities, which is quite obvious. They also let people to come for free to see this final rehearsal before the premiere, and you can go before it. Also, they make special programs for families with the children. They make open discussions or pre-open talks before any concert. As I mentioned, it's really working to make some concerts just for youth, when only youth can come, no adults. And also they are using online possibilities to present for very symbolic fee. You cannot come out, it's too expensive for people. And they also share their space with the communities, in this case with the dance community, and they give them for free the floor for their performances, but then they see that this dance company also coming to their concerts, bringing their friends, so it's also engaging and money. Segmentation. So when we were talking about diversifying the audience of segmentations, it's absolutely connected to that. That we should think about the audience and try to divide them into groups and think what we could offer differently under their needs. Pricing. How much does it cost? Yes, it's always the question. Yes, we all know that on the national scale we have different programs. For example, in certain countries the museums are for free. Discount for groups, very obvious practice for having audience. More innovative, I would say, and a nice example for me, it was from Austria when Caritas created a special program and they asked private sponsors to compensate the expenses if certain underrepresented groups decides to visit certain programs. So it's a very concrete program and very clearly divided. Geography. Sometimes transport is a challenge, right? To access some interesting places that are very distant from the city center. Yeah, we should think about whether it's your case. Disabled persons, also as we were talking about that, we would like disabled persons to have access to museums. Opportunities. Yes, mobile events tours, which is quite popular to make some productions and then it travels around the country. Or, as we can see, to bring arts to culture, to their working or space or living space. Tactics. We have to admit if organization wants to change its relation with the audience, it has to change itself. Yes, we have to rethink our strategies. The other advice would be to try to include your artistic stuff, creative stuff, when you think about audience development, because sometimes we have the ideas that the managers don't have and the opposite, so try to think in a complex way. Try to look at your program through the eyes of the audience. We need this view from a side really to check whether it's really the case. Connect to your audience emotionally, right? It's what we like. People always like when they are approached in a personal way, right? And not treated as some kind of group of money bringers or something. And as advice that the people who come to you or they just see something you have produced, they say, oh, it's really about me. It's really feel that it really connects with me and my life. To pay attention, not only seek for it. As a Croatian colleague said, you can use this formula like non-traditional events in non-traditional spaces with the non-traditional public using non-traditional communication tools, and etc. You can go further and further. To raise questions, not to give answers, which arts usually is the case about. Surprise. I liked very much the example from Croatia, I believe, as well, when Santa Claus was asking for money in front of the culture organization. So it was shock therapy, but it works quite well. Give fee for attendance, like not take ticket from people, but give them the money if they come to your museum or performance. They also kind of a joke that you can maybe publish to text on the window. We need customers, no experience is needed. So please come. Neighborhood also is important, and neighborhood wants to feel that the organization which is in their surrounding is a good neighbor and it cares about the environment, and they might help you a lot in different ways. Do not offer the same experience in your package. People will feel that. Share stories, listen to them, dinner together with artists. Yes, audience development strategies in every segment of organizations. Also, again, to check that if we really know what our audience feel and likes about this. Yeah, to leave territory not only physically but also psychological. If we really want to reach non-audiences, yes, we have to change our approach to them. And the example, for example, of the nice ones is Aftershock Trust from UK, that they were making live performances on people, on crowds, so that people even do not know that something is going on. It's also kind of an interesting way to do it. And the last example is a literature project which I liked very well, and the idea which lies behind that we don't want people to feel guilty that they do not read, right? And we have to admit that we read less and less nowadays, and so the library thought that what they could do that people would not feel guilty, but to encourage them to read. And so they really rearranged the bookshop, the library. So they mix just shelves, they create thematic stands by the mood, people like feel the reading. They change furniture to make it more comfortable. Also, they use the formula that people recommend each other, what do you want. In this case, I love really that one woman asked, could you give me a book that would be about a more miserable person than I am? And I think it's really how we want to select the things we read, like by our owners. And maybe you know this last one very well, but it's best EU-funded practices. So you will find here short descriptions about the project, but I would advise you to go to the websites of the projects and to check. It's also a good place for you to have some new nice ideas and to adapt them, because we sometimes use say innovative, and innovative doesn't mean necessarily that it's something really absolutely new thing that never ever has done. Usually this innovation is kind of the mixture of tactics and strategies that you use in a different way than others did. Let's see, so now you get shot. I'm sorry for my English, but I talk